Police are treating as a hoax a cylindrical object found on a Sydney beach. Patrick Burns has the story.
Early this morning, media organisations and police received calls saying a rocket or space junk had crashed on a secluded beach at La Perouse. Arriving at the scene, wary officers found buried in a giant crater
the cylindrical object about 10 inches in diameter, approximately 3 feet in length. With some pipes hanging off it.
Immediately, the area was sealed off and floodlit. Ballistics experts, fire brigade, ambulance and the bomb squad were called in. The object was found hissing and on fire, but then realisation that rake marks and footprints were nearby and spread around the crater barbecue beads. Senior Constable Bill Davies.
But yeah, it does annoy us because if something does happen in another area where we should have been, it'll just take that much longer for us to get there.
Now police are calling it a SCUD, a specially constructed university device. Patrick Burns, Macquarie National.
Services are outraged over a university prank which has cost taxpayers $20,000. At first, police thought it was a close encounter, but things weren't quite as they seemed.
Police cordoned off Kong Wong Bay after receiving calls reporting a flash in the sky and an object burning in a 2-metre deep crater on the beach.
It's probably something from outer space, a bit of space debris.
In the next few hours, more than 20 fire brigade, ballistics and bomb experts were called. But by first light, they discovered they were the victims of an elaborate hoax. The so-called missile, nothing more than an aluminium keg full of liquid nitrogen with pipes welded to the side.
Those men must assume that that is the real thing, and it does create pressure and stress until the situation is known.
Students from the University of New South Wales later claim responsibility for the prank as part of their annual Foundation Day celebrations.
We expected the police to come down and say, have a look at it and see it was just a cylinder in a hole and sort of call it a hoax straight away, but they've obviously taken the conservative path and gone and called in the bomb squad.
Police say the prank was no joke because emergency service personnel were taken off the road for more than 3 hours. The students also took advantage of last night's census. 2,000 pages were sent out to homes in the eastern suburbs with bizarre questions asking homeowners whether they owned a torch or were they taller than their grandmother. Another faculty tried the spotted look on the monorail. Proud of their stunt, they took snapshots of themselves in front of their handiwork. The photos may be used to identify and prosecute the group for creating public mischief. Darren Curtis, National 9 News.
Team, the bomb squad and the army arrived and moved in to defuse the object. But it was all for nothing. The so-called bomb turned out to be a soft drink cylinder painted and wrapped in piping with liquid nitrogen and heat beads to create the hissing effect. In the light of day, the large crater looks relatively harmless. But police insist when they first arrived, they thought they had a potential disaster on their hands and have been quick to criticise those behind the elaborate prank.
Our priorities may have been with this object rather than saving someone else's life.
The police and fire brigade units alone cost taxpayers $20,000.
Well, naturally, I'm very disappointed that this University Day prank has cost the community so much money.
Behind the prank, a University of New South Wales engineering team trying to raise money for the Prince of Wales Children's Hospital.
Well, as far as the state's emergency services are concerned, that is one area we hadn't bargained on, and we actually do regret the kind of trouble that we've caused.
The bomb hoax isn't the only prank the team takes credit for. They also distributed a bogus census form that listed questions to be answered by the tallest person in the household and checked that everyone had a flashlight in case of a blackout. A rival team managed to give the monorail a dose of measles, a condition that won't be cleared up until the service closes for the day. For the bomb-making team, it was back to fundraising this afternoon, while the authorities consider whether to press charges. Angela Bishop, 10 Eyewitness News.
Home, 40 university students have escaped a close encounter of the police kind after an elaborate UFO hoax in Sydney this morning. It cost an estimated $20,000 to have emergency services called out, but authorities aren't too upset because it was all for a good cause.
It was a luminescent glow. It wasn't red, it was more sort of whitish.
The chances of anything coming from Mars might be 1,000,000 to 1, but Sydney police weren't taking even that chance.
The object was making a hissing sound and it appeared that it could be active.
The first officers on the scene strategically withdrew and called in the rescue squad, the fire brigade and the Army bomb disposal unit. The glowing UFO crater at La Perouse in Sydney South was declared off limits. Meanwhile, not quite a million light years away, in fact just a few kilometres down the road at the University of New South Wales, the beings responsible were starting to worry about copying a rocket themselves from angry police. Officers discovered the UFO was actually a Scud, a specially constructed university device, a metal cylinder surrounded by barbecue heat beads. It was the engineering students' Foundation Day prank. This year they're trying to raise money for the Prince of Wales Children's Hospital.
Obviously not intended to hurt anybody or anything. It's all for the charities.
Police say they now have Foundation Day very clearly marked on their calendar. Tony Rankin, 7 Nightly News.
Sport.